review. Review from a car. It's your host, your moderator. Feel free to hit the subscription button, the notification bell, share it for friend, family, as well as a follower. Okay, so let's get on into it. Okay, shall we? So today's review is The Punisher: One Last Kill. Now, when I heard about this way back when, I thought this was going to be like a series, a little mini series. It's really an extended episode. That's basically I can tell you. And for those out there been living under a rock who don't know who the Punisher is, the Punisher is a Marvel character. He really doesn't have any superpowers except his will to cause terror upon bad people in the world. Okay, he's basically a hitman, sort of say. He's a hitman, a mercenary, soldier, and he had a terrible origin as the Punisher, the beginning of the Punisher. Now, I want to say this before we start this review, and like I said, the Punisher is in Marvel's universe, is in the comic books, and to me, I feel like I know for a fact the Punisher, out of all the Marvel characters that Marvel possess, the Punisher has to be the most basic, bland character. And truth be known, I think the Punisher is more copy and paste from other characters that Marvel has already established. That's way more popular than the Punisher. Okay, Wolverine, who's pretty much, you can give him this same origin story, and you won't even miss a beat. Or the Incredible Hulk, you can pretty much give him this same origin story, and you still won't miss a beat. Okay, I feel like the Punisher is a D type character. I know they're trying to feature him a lot more in Marvel on Marvel television, as well as he's going to be in the movies. He's going to be in Spider-Man's big movie. Okay, so they're going to feature him a lot. So I guess they're going to utilize the Punisher. The actor who plays the Punisher loves playing the Punisher. Now, is he the best Punisher ever who played this character? I feel like he does the best of what he has with the limited resources of the Punisher. The Punisher is not this robust character. He's not a millionaire. He's not a good guy that wants to do good in the world. He doesn't have special powers. He's not a mutant. Okay, he's not an alien. So the Punisher is just a regular Joe. So that's all I want to say about the origin of Punisher. So let's just get into the review of Punisher: One Last Kill. Okay, so the movie starts off kind of odd. It's more abstract. You start. You are welcome into the world of the Punisher. The Punisher is going through torment. The Punisher is still um, you know, having a hard time dealing with his family being executed by the mob. Which, by the way, you look at the newspapers in his room, in his apartment, and he killed everybody that was responsible, as far the mob family that was responsible as far as killing his family. So the Punisher was out for revenge. He got his thirst of revenge. Mission complete. But the Punisher is still trying to find his way in this world, and he's got so much rage built up. He's got so much anger built up. He's still pissed off that his family got executed by the mob. Even though he killed everyone in the mob, he's still just not satisfied. He's still got this anger and rage pit in him, inside his soul. And you start witnessing that, I say, like in the first 30 or 40 minutes of this movie, and the actor is portraying the Punisher. He's doing a great job with the Punisher. But to me, I feel like he does a lot of overkill. Particularly, and you can tell that, when he did his research, he wanted the Punisher to be similar to like John Rambo, with the with the rage and the yelling, and he's traumatized. He's hallucinating. He's under medication. I mean, the man is tore up from the flow up, from the top to the bottom. Okay, he's a he's a hurt, soul, and just killing the mob that were responsible as far as killing his family is just not good enough. It doesn't satisfy the Punisher. So the Punisher lives in exile, uh, pretty much in the ghetto. Okay, now you would think the Punisher, he's been through wars and he's been through terrible neighborhoods, terrible, he served this country, and bad enough he has to deal with this ordeal of his family no longer existing because the mob put a hit out on his family or executed his family. You would think, you know the Punisher would go to have a log cabin, be around a lot of peaceful things, live like a hermit, or, live overseas or something like that, just getting away from the modern world. Instead, the Punisher is living in this ghetto that's horrible. The conditions are horrible. The bad guys have taken over this part of the neighborhood. The neighborhood's so bad the police don't want to come in and help people. That's how bad this neighborhood is. Okay, and it's ravaged with rapists, murderers, all types of no good people running the streets of this neighborhood. But people, people still have to live somewhere. People still have to work somewhere. So people just deal with the conditions of this part of the neighborhood. And it feels like to me, when you watch this, the only bad things are happening is in this neighborhood. It's not happening anywhere else. Okay. It just centers in this neighborhood. Like, it doesn't expand anywhere else. That's what the sense you get from watching this the Punisher One Last Kill. So the Punisher, he's going through his hell. He's hallucinating things of that nature. So the Punisher goes out, and as he goes outside, you see burning buildings, you see people being executed, you see people being hurt, and Punisher is just minding his own business. He's not trying to interfere or save anybody or anything like that. So he goes into this restaurant, and crazy people are there's a crazy guy in the restaurant, and he's causing havoc with the owner. And but the Punisher finds salvation in this child, because when everyone approached the Punisher, they either fear him, or, thanks for the thumbs up, they either fear him or they just stay away from him. Okay. But with this little girl, she sees good in the Punisher. And she tries to communicate with the Punisher, be nice to the Punisher. And that's the only good thing that happened to the Punisher this far into this extended episode. Okay. So so in a way, it's like a rose in the concrete. Okay. He's, all this stuff is going on, all these horrible things are going on. But the one positive thing is this little girl that appreciates him and respects him for who he is, just a regular guy. Okay. She doesn't know the backstory of the Punisher. She doesn't know about the Punisher family being executed. She doesn't know that the Punisher is suffering, and he's got mental issues. He's hallucinating a lot. She doesn't know all that. All she sees is a good soul under all that. Okay, so the Punisher, walks out the store, and then he runs into this mob boss, this mob lady. Now, apparently, she's the last of the Mohicans of this mob family. The Punisher executed. You know what? Let me hold on one second. Let me get up out of the sun real fast, real quick. So, oh, thanks. Good job. Thanks. I appreciate that. So Let me get out of this sun real fast, real quick, okay? Because I don't want my phone, um, you know, acting a fool. All right, I should have done this a while ago. Okay, so yeah, the Punisher, you know, he meets up with this lady, and this lady is the last of the Mohicans of this crime family that the Punisher done executed. And now she finds the Punisher, and she has issues with the Punisher because the Punisher killed everyone in her family, and she goes through the laundry list of what the Punisher did to his family, to her family. Now, um so the Punisher, and it doesn't come off when he interacts with the mob lady. It's not organic. It's not, it just when the Punisher meets up with this mob lady, it just doesn't feel right. I don't know if it's the script or maybe they just didn't have enough time to formulate this connection, and then maybe they finally meet up after constant times of you know trying to connect or whatever. Okay, it just doesn't feel right. Okay, so she's the last of the Mohicans, so she decides to put a hit out on the Punisher. So everyone in this bad hood, the Punisher has a hit on his head. Now, I feel like this, the way how they wrote this, we have seen this time and time again in several movies. The most recent movie to me is John Wick, where the hotel put a hit out on put a hit out on John Wick, and all the hitmen were trying to get at John Wick. I think that's the symmetry they was trying to establish in this extended episode, but it comes off very, very poorly. It's not very executed. And then you say to yourself, okay, if you are interacting with the Punisher right now, how come your bodyguard just can't try to kill the Punisher right now? Or how come you didn't have enough people to kill the Punisher? Okay, because like I said, it wasn't like the Punisher walked up to the mob, the lady. It's like the lady knew the Punisher was going to walk this certain way, this certain sidewalk, and she was just waiting for him. Okay, I thought it was kind of weird, but anyway, she puts a hit out on him, and all the bad guys in this hood is trying to kill the Punisher. Now, like I said, John Wick, the John Wick movies, when the hotel put a hit out on John Wick, that was great how the storytelling is, and the different type of assassins that was coming after John Wick. But with the Punisher, you get this low effort, little minimum, and not creativity to the bad guys that are coming after the Punisher. The bad guys have no ideal. They're just NPCs, in my opinion. You don't know nothing about their backstory. You don't know nothing about them. I felt like if they could have extended this a little bit longer, you could have have placing an identity to these characters that's going after the Punisher. I thought that would have been a great plus for the Punisher. But anyway, you just get what you get. You get these bad guys, these savage guys. They don't have names. They don't really have faces. They have faces, but they don't really have memorable faces. They don't say memorable lines. They're not great characters like you want to follow these characters or whatever. Okay. So uh they go on a John Wick is executing them left to right, throughout the apartments and into the street. And to me, I thought the action was okay. It was, and again, the action was low effort. I thought we could have, I think they could have done better with the action, but it is what it is. Nothing memorable. And does it have to be memorable? No, but Does it have to be somewhat believable? I feel like it should at least be somewhat believable, but it wasn't. It really wasn't. So, you get what you get with this episode. Now, the Punisher is, killing all of these of these mercenaries or bad guys. I feel like calling them mercenaries don't give them any justice, in my humble opinion. Uh, I don't think they should be called mercenaries. I just think they just should be called NPCs. They shouldn't even be called bad guys. But you get what you get. All right. Is there creativity with the violence, with the action? No, not really. There's no real creativity on how he, kills the mercenaries or these NPCs. It's just, run, gun, shoot, pretty much. Okay. The special effects was horrible in The Punisher. There was one, and there's a clip floating around on social media where the Punisher falls down, is falling from the sky, and he hits this little uh room, and the roof, he caves into the. I think no, this is an air conditioner. He caves into the air conditioner, and the CGI is horrible. Now they did say a spokesman for Marvel said that uh you know, the stunt was real. They just plastered the character's face, I mean, the actor's face on the stunt man. But if you look at it, it looks horrible. It looks like a low production video game. It's like a video game that you played back in the PlayStation 2 era. Okay, that's how awful it looked, but it is what it is. Okay, so um there's mass confusion, and there's a big crowd brewing in this neighborhood. And I'm about to say John Wick, the Punisher. I mean, there's bad guys surrounded all over this block, and the Punisher ran into the mob boss lady and her bodyguard.